Hey everyone, this is Jody McKenna, and tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit about rollerball recipes because there's some things that you may be surprised about when you go to make like a rollerball. It's still simple. Like, I don't want you to think like there's a science to it and that there's all these crazy things and rules that you have to follow, because there isn't. But there are some awesome tips. So, for starters, we're going to talk about rollerball synergies. What is a synergy? It's basically a blend that has a purpose. So, one thing that you need to think about is when you make a synergy, like this is the Who Wise House Oils Synergy that we came up with, is that you want to add your carrier oil last. When you add a carrier oil, then you need to understand that you only want to use this bottle for about a year. It ends up having an expiration date when you add a carrier oil to your essential oils. So for this one, I need to use this every day. A lot of times I put the Who blend on when I'm getting ready to read my Bible of a morning. I love the smell of it. So keep in mind, when you use a carrier oil, it'll only use it for about a year. The other thing is that realistically, you want to use small bottles for your roller bottles. Number one, because you're going to keep it a year, but also you just want to make sure that you use it. So this one is a 5 milliliter. I like using these small ones, but like, let's say you used a Zytoscan or an Itovy, then and you need a roll-on blend, you might want to consider even like super small ones. So I buy these really tiny ones. I think these are 1 milliliters from Life Science Publishing, and I like them because they have the Young Living logo on them, but they're little tiny roller balls. And so I will use that for say a month, and then I'm done with it. That's a great way just to make sure you're using all your oils and you're using, basically spending your money wisely, and then not just having a roller ball be wasted. Another thing is that you can do your roller balls with just the essential oil. For example, I didn't add a carrier oil. This is Tummy Dries. I think it actually does have a carrier oil in it. But a lot of times, if you want that synergy to last longer and you don't want to have to go with that year-long expiration date, then just don't add a carrier oil. So this is actually one of the Young Living Fitments. I really, really like these Fitments. The ball always glides really nicely, and it doesn't fall out, which I've had on some bottles that I've bought before it falls out. So I really like these. And if you want to take it off, all you do is you basically take the cap and then plunk it to the side, and this comes out. But then if you want to put this back on, these are great because all you do is you screw the cap on, and then that puts it down nicely. So there's no pushing and shoving and potentially getting glass all up in your fingers. Let the lid do the work for you. Okay. So, especially though, if you're going to be doing a roller ball that isn't diluted at all, and if it has citrus oils in it, make sure that it is a metal fitment, or there's some really cool ones that are glass. I do not have an all glass one with me tonight. Next is, let's say you get done with your roller ball. So for example, I have these right here. This one is always in my purse. So let's say I get done with this. I might be tempted to go ahead and start and just fill it up again with Thieves and the carrier oil. Now, that's a great idea, but here's the thing that may gross you out. And that's, I think, part of the reason also why there's a year-long shelf life is, look at this right here. Can you see that there's some debris on there? Part of that is because it was in my purse. But what happens is when you roll this, the roller ball goes on your skin and then it rolls back around. So what happens is it picks up, bits of dirt, skin, makeup even. My husband's giving me a funny face. And I don't worry about it that much, but the reality is that that does go back into the bottle in such tiny, tiny amounts. I mean, you don't see that at all. And like I said, don't freak out about that. But like, it's once a year is up, like you don't need to reuse their bottle. And these are so cheap, either on Amazon or Life Science Publishing, or just getting the fitment from Young Living to reuse the bottles when they came neat to your house. Reuse this bottle into something else. You know, take the orifice off, put the fitment on. So let's talk about creating a synergy. So for a synergy, for a roll-on, you want to use about 3 to 5 essential oils. Now, why 3 to 5? Well, if you think about it, one's kind of boring. And then two, if you think about 2 people can live in a house, fine, live in an apartment, fine. But when you add a third person to the mix, what happens? You get some tension, you get some friction, you get some energy moving. So I want you to think about when you add 3 single oils together, that's when you start getting that energy happening, and you often get the desired result for an essential oil blend that you want. So 3 to 5 singles work best. And I really wouldn't add mix let's say Thieves blend and Stress Away blend if you're trying to get a desired effect, because those are already separate synergies that were created for a specific purpose. So when you create your own blend, you want to work on this core action that you want to have happen, whether it be, let's say, lymphatic support or focus or sleep, or you want something that'll help you stay calm, things like that. So the way you look at that is you look at the constituents within that essential oil. So right off the bat, like if I want to stay calm, I know that I'm going to have Northern Lights to be my main one. So that one might actually be 10 to 20 drops in a blend that I'm going to create, because I know what Northern Lights does. I know how foundational that oil is. I know how important it is. I mean, it's one of the key ones in Valor. So what I would do first is I would put the essential oils in the bottle. So for example, this one I am doing tonight is a vein support one. So here's my glass bottle. I've already got 30 drops of cypress in here. And because that takes so long to count out, I just went ahead and did it. I actually need to add a few more because I ran out of my cypress. And then for the rest of my synergy, I need 10 drops of lemongrass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, not science. And sometimes if you have an oil that won't come out, you need to know that the oil doesn't come out of this big orifice right here. This is actually an air hole. There's a tiny, tiny like pinprick hole within your bottle where the oil actually comes out. So if it doesn't come out, you need to find out where that pinprick is and then tilt your bottle so it'll come out. And then it also has 10 drops of heliocrystamine, which is, I love that oil. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then after that, I want to swirl it. You don't want to shake it, because when you actually shake the oil like vigorously up and down, you end up oxygenating the oil, and then you get this oxidative stress. And so the synergy really just isn't as effective, and it kind of breaks down more. So you just swirl it. And then what I would do for the rest, this is supposed to be for a 5 milliliter bottle, so I'm not gonna fill it all the way with the carrier oil. I'm just gonna fill it about halfway. Is after it's well blended, by just swirling like that, then I will add my V6. And you can use V6 oil, which is my favorite, just because it doesn't stain, and it soaks in really well, and it doesn't have a smell. So you can order that on Young Living. Or you could use grapeseed oil, which I know in one of the books I'm reading right now, she highly recommends grapeseed oil. The main thing is that you want it to be raw, pure, organic, and cold pressed. You don't want to use oils like that you would cook with. Which I take that back, because you can use, you wouldn't use like thick coconut oil for a roller ball, because it really wouldn't work in a roller ball. And you can use fractionated coconut oil, but that's personally just not a favorite of mine, because I want it to be cold pressed, organic, raw, and pure. So, and then I would stick my Whoa. In an ideal world, I would stick my roller ball on. I would cap it like this and then label it. So to label it, I have label makers, but I couldn't find my label maker tonight. So I just buy cheap labels. Sometimes I just even use Avery mailing labels, and I will stick it on like this. And then I add washi tape to make it pretty. I'll often put washi tape down here or on the top or on the lid so that then I can clearly know, oh yeah, that's what that one is. So that is how you make your own synergistic blends. So for the Who blend, there was no recipe for this one. This is something I just prayed about it. And I knew I had this effect, and then I had my friend Sarah Ronk. I'm like, can you study these oils? How does this blend work together when you know the constituents of each of these oils individually? And she studied it, and it was exactly what I wanted for the Who essential oil blend. So go make a roller ball, and I recommend using smaller ones, not a bigger one like this unless you're going to use it a lot. And use good cold pressed organic oil. And remember, don't shake, just swirl like a fine wine, and use 3 to 5 different essential oil singles. Have a great night.